What's up, guys? Welcome to the last day of 2024, and we have a fitting topic today for all wholesalers because that's all we talk about on here is wholesaling. We're talking about stop what you're watching and start working. So many of you guys are consuming content, and I know this is ironic because you're watching content while you do this. So I'm going to give you a pass because, hell, it's New Year's Eve, and we got to come up with a game plan for 2025. But today we're going to talk about a topic that most people don't want to even dive into it. So if you have analysis by paralysis, you are stuck, or if you've watched way too many videos, well past what me and Zach can put out there, this is going to be the video for you. Because you always want to educate yourself. And the human brain can only take so much. But the question is, you guys are looking for like the perfect scenario. And I'm going to walk you through today why it doesn't exist. And I'm going to show you if you're stuck by like consuming way too much information. I'm going to show you how to get out of that pattern and actually take the action so you can get your first wholesale deal. So maybe it's not your first wholesale deal. Maybe you're trying to get your 5th, your 10th, your 15th. And you're watching too much content. Do me a favor. Don't unsubscribe from my channel. But number one, make sure you're getting the right information, and only you can make that decision. Get it from people that actually do the business and are here in the United States to help you out. So there's people all over the world. Listen, wholesaling only works in the United States, period. And without getting to the intricacies of it, we have to find a way to actually get past the content, get past the courses, and actually do something. So I'm not here to bash content, people's courses. I'm here just to focus on you. So many people are commenting. Let me know in the comments if you guys are stuck. And I'm going to show you the pattern that you get stuck in when you get into this mindset. God knows I've been into it. I know a lot of you are watching this video right now because you're stuck in it. And I'm going to shake you a little bit and get you out of it, because I think so many times you guys are looking for the perfect scenario and you're not going to find it. So, and that's it. So let's jump into it. And then what I will do here, because I am in the studio all by myself today, which I love, by the way, because I'm all about consistency. So I could easily take today off and spend time. And trust me, I'm spending plenty of time with family. But I made a commitment to get you guys everything you need about wholesaling, and New Year's Eve is no exception for me. So here we are. So if you are stuck, by the way, I posted in the comments, I believe I did, didn't I? Wait a minute. Yes, so you'll see it under my name, Zach's name. If you want to do a one-on-one, today's the perfect opportunity. And you want to talk about actually how to get this process started. Rick, I've watched probably 100 of your videos. I'm kind of tired of looking at your face. Then let's find a way to get you started on it. Because I know me and Zach put out a lot of content, but there's a purpose for it. To get you to take the actions you need to take and nothing else. And so if I've annoyed you with my video, then good, I've done my job and I love it. So first of all, I shout out to everybody on a Happy New Year. For God's sakes, please be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. And start off 2025, start off refreshed, hopefully not hungover, and spend it with the people you love the most. So shout out to everybody on a Happy New Year. And I can tell you guys, 2025 is just going to be an amazing year for wholesaling, without question. We have the right environment for politics, for business growth in the stock market and interest rates. And not that we really need any of that, but it does give you headwinds going in the wholesaling. So without further ado, guys, make sure you use the comments, introduce yourselves, and let's get into it. So if you are watching way too much stuff, and by the way, I got to give you a pass on this video because if you don't watch the video, you can't get to the point. So this one you're going to have to watch. So the first thing you have to understand is, what are we doing here? And I'm going to put up a disclaimer. Stop reading and watching videos. Like, there comes a point where you just have to stop doing it. Every title is different, every thumbnail, I get it. Like, marketing is, I'm a marketer by nature. My job is to grab your attention. And once we do that, they decide to give you the correct information. But here's the problem is, It's not just me out there. There's thousands and thousands of people feeding you information. If it's on wholesaling or not, you're going to have to determine that. I only teach wholesaling. I don't teach all these other strategies because wholesaling, in my opinion, is the highest single skill set you can learn in real estate. It catapults more people to multi-million-dollar incomes because you learn this skill set. Is it an easy skill set? Absolutely not. You're going to have to train, and you're really going to have to master marketing. And once you do that, you can do whatever you want. But stop reading and watching. Most of the stuff you're watching is not really wholesaling when you get down to it. And that's one of you guys' problems. You're watching all these different types of strategies. Try this instead of that. Now, like, there's a million ways to skin a cat. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't figure out wholesaling first, you're cheating yourself. Because if you can't master wholesaling, all the other stuff's going to get even more complicated. And by the way, there is no secret way to do this instead of wholesaling. You don't have to compete. It's ridiculous. Learn how to talk to people, solve their problems, and wholesaling is a great fit. It always works in every market. The question is, will you? So we have to just, like, right now, just stop. Just literally, I don't want you to watch another video until you go out and take an actionable step. Because this stuff, I'm going to say something controversial here, but like, I hate the TV. I think the TV is one of the biggest time sucks you can have in your life. And although this is a form of TV, but you've picked out the topic of choice, which I really appreciate you picking out wholesaling, is if you sit there and watch something long enough, you start to become numb to it. And you think you know it, but you don't really know it. Take an example. I tell you, over this holiday week, I have, so like, you know, your favorite songs you listen to over and over, like you listen to it in the gym, in the shower, everywhere. And you think like, man, not only do I know the words, I can nail the pitches and I sing perfectly. Well, our family wound up getting a karaoke machine. And I can tell you, it's so bad. I don't get any entertainment from it. I'm a worse singer than I ever thought I was. And the whole time I've listened to these songs probably 5,000 times. I don't know how to sing it. I don't know the lyrics to it. And I sound terrible. But I thought I was doing the right thing. And I'm trying to show you a lot of your wholesaling education is going the same way. You see, there's a difference between knowing something and stop. Consuming content is killing your wholesale business because there is a limit that you can only stuff so much in your brain, and then you've got to go test the theory out. How do you do it? You actually take the actionable steps. So if they tell you to call 200 sellers, why do you guys keep skipping 200 sellers? Make the phone calls, because you're going to learn a lot about the wholesale business. You're going to learn a lot about what you're willing to do and what scares you, and then you're going to make decisions from there. But you guys want it all perfectly wrapped up in a video and just delivered to you, and you won't do it. Here's the problem with when I tell you to stop reading and watching. Here's the challenge with this. Reading is transactional. It won't stick. I'm so tired of people telling you, you've got to read X amount of books or X amount of pages per day. Otherwise, you are doing yourself a disservice. Do you guys really believe that? Go interview people like Elon Musk and stuff like that. They'll tell you they haven't even read a ton of books. Here's the one thing I've learned from people that are just get incredible things done. They don't care. The judge of the person is not how many books you read. No, it's a joke. So I've done this before. I had somebody that was, you can call it mentoring me. So Rick, you've got to read at least 2 chapters a day. And I did it for about a year. And honestly, I got through a lot of books. But here's the problem is all I was reading. Was I learning? No, I was reading. I did exactly what they told me to do. I read my X amount of pages a day. And if you do that, it's being transactional. It's like making offers on properties like you're a realtor. So let me ask you, who is better off in the long run? Someone that reads 25 books a year, or a person that reads 1 or 2 books, masters the books, and actually makes a living off the actions they took off that book? I already know the answer to this. Stop reading books. Reading is just reading. Think of all the crap you read in grade school. How much did you actually retain of it? Very little. And this is the difference on what I'm doing. The difference between reading and doing is night and day. And I found when I tried to hit a quota to read, all I did was read. I didn't retain 80, 90% of the information. Did I really learn anything? No. Now, you guys know I have ADHD. And a lot of you thinking like, dude, is Rick just crazy, or like, is his ADHD real? It's real. And my entire life been told that you have to be medicated, which I've never done, thank God, although it might have been helpful as a child. But I'm an adult with it, and I'm fine with it. And I figured out how to navigate it. Things frustrate me sometimes. People do mostly. But where am I going with this? The idea is when I read a book, I just read the pages. It is a check. Let me give you an example. Do you ever have people that go to the gym and then they get on their phone 70% of the time while they're working out? And by the time they work out, maybe they did 3 or 4 sets of something and they go, went to the gym, checked it off. Do you really think their body's going to grow accordingly? It's not. You just went to the gym. You didn't live, eat, and breathe the gym. And that's the difference between reading and doing. So you can read, but there's a point where you're going to hit a wall. And the information is going to overload you to the point where you just want to try to make everything perfect. So I want you to think about this. Before you read something, and someone just tells you to read it, because they say the measure of a good man or woman is how many books they read in a year. Listen, books are helpful, but only if you get a lesson or a meaning out of it in your life. And if you're just reading it to check off of a list, you're purely transactional. You're much better doing someone like me does. Now, listen, you all don't have ADHD, but let me give you the #1 skill set of a person with ADHD. When I find a book, a video, or something that I am highly interested in, that I believe is going to be very beneficial for myself and my family, you can't get that book, that video, that monitor out of my hands. In fact, I will watch it so many times, you're going to think something's broke in my head. This is a difference between deep and going wide. If you want to read a lot of books, you have to skim a lot of information. You're going to retain very little. Or you can take 1 or 2 books or videos or courses, whatever you want to do, and go deep. When I say deep, press it all the way. Let me give you an example. I give you guys free wholesaling.com. You should go through that course, in my opinion, 5 or 6 times until you almost memorize it. But Rick, you told me not to consume that information. Do it in segments, period, and then take the action. You see, if you just want to read it and glaze over it while you're doing other things, you're never going to retain the information. So my problem with ADHD is like getting me connected, but like when I found wholesaling, I was all in. All the materials I ever got, which were really bad when I started, I read them dozens and dozens and dozens of times. There was no videos back when I did this. They were all PDF workbooks and handwritten notes. I literally almost had it memorized to the point you could use the comments on today's live once you consumed everything in freewholesaling.com, which is how this was designed, and you can ask in-depth questions. And based on your questions, I know the people that truly read the material and consume it, and then I can tell the ones that take the massive amount of action on it. And I'm here to tell you, most people just go wide whenever they read any type of course, any type of book, instructional, motivational, whatever it is, and they don't go deep. When you go deep, you're almost, I'm not saying memorizing the words or the videos, but like that's the level of understanding you need to get to really hit it out of the park. So stop buying into this theory that you have to read X amount of pages a day or X amount of books a year. If you want a trophy for the most amount of books read, you're going to get one. But why don't you get a trophy for whoever changed their life the most with the materials that were given to them? And that's how you judge it. So if I only took, say, 2 courses in a year, 2 books, 2 instructional videos, and I just mastered them, like everything I got to perfection, you're so much better than the person that read 20, 25 books. Why? It's just a checklist, transactional. Wholesaling is not transactional. And it's kind of funny we're talking about this and I'm doing this in a video to you, but I've got to get my point across to you is you have to go deep with the material. I mean deep, like so deep you should just be hammering me with questions. I can tell by the questions you guys ask in the comments who's really deep dove the material. Here's the reality is some of you just want stuff that's just spoon fed to you. You're not going to make it. I'm just like, honestly, don't even worry about analysis by paralysis because that'll be really painful. Deep versus wide. This is the difference. You have to read X amount of books or X amount of pages a day. Why? Who makes these rules? Oh, because you did, and now I have to do it? It doesn't make sense. If you don't retain the information and learn from it, what's the point of starting it? Now, if you just want to create curiosity, that's fine. And God knows there's enough content out there to get you motivated. The question is, how do we stay into it? And how do we get past like not watching a video over and over again? And you have to get out of it. So the way freewholesaling.com was designed, and by the way, the games are getting ready to start. You better like get your stuff going. Is the idea was to consume the information on marketing and then go out and take the actions. And then when you get the actions, you can compare it to what actually happened or what the plan was. And then you can decide, did you do something wrong? Are you just being too sensitive about it? Or did you not understand the level of rejection you were going to get in wholesaling? And nobody gets exactly what they took out of the course, the information, to what they applied in reality. There's always going to be a different level of expectations. But here's the problem is, if you just consume people's videos, you just read people's courses, and you just read books, then you have no idea how to go out and test and apply this. The one thing that drives me nuts about wholesaling is this is not theory, and it is not taught well in the classroom. You have to go out and experience. Nothing made wholesaling more real than going out and taking the daily actions with it. But let's be honest, there's a lot of you that just want to sit there and like gravitate in the content. And here's the problem is, let me just put it up here. Why is consuming so much content stopping you? You think it would be the opposite, don't you? I would love to hear in the comments of why you think this happens. You have to understand is, I'm reading your comments while I do this, so I'm just tagging a few here, is I have people like this that just put up here, says, I'm stuck. And you know what? She's at least being brutally honest. I commend for people that can be honest. So if we understand that we just get stuck is, if you're just consuming content and you haven't taken any action, just hit the pause button, hit stop when this video is over, of course. Does everybody understand that? You don't need to unsubscribe from anything or do anything like that, but we've got to find out how to fix this. So if we understand that the more you consume, the more it freezes you, let's break this down. So as I said earlier, reading versus doing. Reading is transactional. It won't stick. Grade school have taught us all this. How much do you remember from your math books, everything you read? How much do you remember from your chemistry books? How about your English books? Guys, it's all in one ear and out the other. You just did it so you could pass a test. That's it. If you truly wanted to go back and learn it, you would treat it completely different. And we all know that. So we got to stop consuming wholesaling content information like it's our grade school books. Now, it is a basic education, I'll do that, but here's the difference is, you have to go deep into the content. Like multiple times deep, get a firm understanding, ask questions, and move forward and take a massive amount of action. That's how you progress in wholesaling and honestly, anything that you're trying to learn. Think about if you're trying to master a language. This is a great example. Say you're doing like the Rosetta Stone. I have no affiliation with them. So say you want to speak Spanish and you only speak English, and your motivation is, say, your boyfriend's Spanish, and you want to get to know him better and connect with him. Awesome. That's why most people do it. Now, language is just a different way to communicate. But imagine just listening to tapes of Spanish being translated from English and never having a conversation with your boyfriend. You're never going to learn. You're going to get laughed and mocked at first, but you know what? They're going to appreciate your effort. But if it's important to you, you're going to do it. If it's not important to you, you're just going to read the information and skim over it. So the information has to be important and pertinent to you, and you got to go deep. When I say deep, like consume it, live it, take actions for it, and then make your mistakes, because we're all going to make mistakes. Nobody is mistake-free in wholesaling. We're going to talk about that. So what do we have to do? You're going to have to take immediate action once you get this stuff. End of story. But so why do you think most people don't take immediate action when consuming like wholesale content? What do you think the number one reason is? Put it in the comments. I want to see who understands what I'm saying here. Why don't people do exactly what I say right here on the screen? I know the exact answer because I've lived this. A lot of you have lived this. David says it good. It's easier to look busy, to be busy and take tangible action. So remember, busy means broke. Busy is a subconscious action you take because you're uncomfortable and you're scared of something. When I first started wholesaling, when I got confused or upset, I used to go mow my lawn. Why? Because it gave me comfort. I knew exactly how to do it. I didn't have to think, and it was somewhat soothing. I know, but that's what I did. And so some of you clean houses when like you're uncomfortable. Some of you wash the car. You get busy, but busy will only make you broke. So I appreciate David's comment there. It actually makes perfect sense if we look at it. So I've got fear, excuses, fear, scared of failure, lack of confidence, and fear again. And you know what? These are all correct. So let's break down and think about this for a second. The information's in front of you. I know me and Zach give you everything you need to be successful in wholesaling. Because remember, we only talk about wholesaling. I purposely try not to confuse you with digital assets, with all these crazy like techniques that really aren't wholesaling. I don't teach you fix and flip. I don't teach you how to manipulate paperwork. I don't teach you how to do pay per click and all this other stuff. I teach you to go out and market for your own wholesale leads, because you got to do a ton of outbound marketing in the beginning, because nobody else is going to teach you this stuff. In fact, most people will tell you when you get a few deals on your belt, then come talk to me, and they're going to talk to you in some crazy expensive way to get it done. That's not what I teach. In fact, exact opposite. Me and Zach teach you to go out and do the actionable steps. And it's frustrating when people don't take immediate action. So if we know everyone's scared, this is the bottom line right here. You're scared to make mistakes and failures. Because the problem is your entire life in school, your parents, everything is don't make a mistake, don't fail. And I'm telling you, you have to do the complete opposite. You have to be willing to make a ton of mistakes and learn from your failures. Remember, failures are nothing more than a stepping stone to learning anything. If you don't fail, how are you ever going to figure it out? This is not like school where you do everything in your power to avoid getting an F. You are going to get Fs in wholesaling. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you're progressing and learning your craft. In fact, I'll tell you, some of my worst moments in wholesaling on deals that absolutely fell apart that I was depending on taught me my greatest lessons in wholesaling and made me who I am today. This is one of the reasons I connect with you guys on the internet. I don't want you to go through the same crap I did. You are going to make mistakes. Everybody has to understand you're going to make mistakes in wholesaling. And the problem is a lot of you are trying to avoid the mistakes. Hence, your delay, your paralysis by analysis. And if you understand that, you're going to make failures. Actually, anyone I've ever taught in wholesaling, I would be horrified if they didn't make a mistake. It's just not natural. You're going to make mistakes. And once you make a mistake, there's something that happens in your nervous system that just burns into it. And guess what? You typically won't make that mistake again. Because if you make the mistake again, it means you weren't paying attention enough. And so once we're deep in the material and we're paying attention and taking action, that's how you learn. If you just consume information and you go, man, I'm not taking any action, like how are you ever going to get forward on that? So once we make mistakes, what's the next step? You're going to like cry and pout when you make a mistake? I've done that. I have cried and pouted. Like I'm not proud to say this, but I have. But there's this thing that happens to us is we have to grow up if we want to stay in wholesaling. When deals fall apart, when buyers flake out on us, when sellers ghost us, all the crazy crap we put up with, the bottom line is you learn from this data and you adjust. And this is how you kind of come up with parameters and boundaries. One of the key reasons why I tell you guys not to use your buyer's title company, because bad things are going to happen. Why? Because they happen to me a lot. They've happened to everybody I work with. And why do you think it's going to be any different from you? But when you decide to go outside these boundaries, I don't stop you because I'm not your parent, but I'm going to forewarn you. And then if it goes bad, I'm going to say, listen, I told you that would happen, but now you have burned it into your system. You've lost the deal and you will never make this mistake again. The only difference is that cost you 15 grand. Now, once it costs you 15 grand, I promise you, you won't make the mistake twice. I know I've done it. I know a lot of you watching this have had that same problem. I can go over and over on it again. All this information is in freewholesaling.com. If you go deep into the information and you take an incredible amount of action and you make mistakes, you will learn. And you're like, Rick, what happens when I screw up? You are going to learn and never make that mistake again. Now, we want you to avoid the major ones. Don't get me wrong. But some of you aren't going to listen. Some of you are hard-headed, and I'm okay with it. I get it. But we have to do it. And then once we do that, we take immediate action. We make mistakes. We course correct. And we keep the cycle going. That is how you learn in wholesaling. But here's the problem is, a lot of you are so scared of making a mistake. So let's walk through the exact actions most of you were taking, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. And this is going to look so stupidly awesome, so stupidly simple. You're going to be like, I can't believe I'm stuck in this cycle. Because, heck, I've even done this. So most of you overconsume content. I'll give you a pass on today. Don't worry about that. Meaning you watch me and Zach, you watch 5 or 6 other influencers. And I'm not telling you not to watch other people. Like you get freedom of choice, do whatever you want. Just make sure if you're consuming information about wholesaling, you're being taught wholesaling. Anything outside of wholesaling, in my opinion, is a distraction for you. Are you really worried about what you're going to do 10 or 12 years down the road? Because that's how most people try to teach wholesaling. Start out wholesaling and then you'll learn these advanced strategies. Well, what if you don't master wholesaling? You're never going to get to those strategies. I know it. A lot of people blame me for being repetitious. Good. I'm making my point across. I am like that pee-wee coach pounding you on Pop Warner football. You need to learn to tackle, run routes, and block. Stop getting fancy. You don't need to run the wishbone. You don't need all these fancy things. You need to understand the fundamentals of wholesaling. And until you do, you're wasting your time with all that other stuff. If someone's going to teach you anything other than wholesaling, what are you listening to them for? I'm only going to teach you on this whole thing. And the minute I bring up stocks or trading crypto or anything like that, please shut off the channel. Because it means I've run out of information to say and my ego is completely checked in and I want to tell you how great I am at all this other stuff. I'm just like you guys. I'm trying to get ahead. I know wholesaling more than 99% of the people out there. There are people that know more than me, I am sure. Am I the best communicator with it? Probably not. I'm just authentic and I tell you how it is. And when you meet me in person, I'm the exact same way. So if we understand we overconsume, here's why we overconsume. You believe the more content you consume about wholesaling, the more perfect of a choice you can make. Let's put it up there. You're trying to create the perfect choice. Well, let me help you out. It ain't gonna happen. There is no perfect choice. But some of you think if I consume enough information, I'll have all the information and then I'll never make a mistake. It is a prophecy you're never going to be fulfilled. And you'll have to watch information until the day you die to even get close into it. And guess what? On your deathbed, you're like, damn, I should have taken some action in wholesaling. I don't know why I didn't do anything. And that's where you're going to be stuck. In fact, I'll put it right here. It will never be perfect. This is a trap that we're all stuck in. This is how you guys get nailed with analysis by paralysis by analysis. And I'm telling you, there is no perfect choice. It won't exist. It was absolutely terrible when I started wholesaling. And I thought, I go, man, how much should I consume before I actually take? Now, I had the unfortunate advantage of not being able to consume a lot of it. It was really, really expensive back in my day. 25 grand was the minimum to get a basic workbook for wholesaling because people kept it such a dark secret. Obviously, we know we fixed that. So if we know there's not a perfect scenario around the corner waiting for me to fix everything, what choice do you have to make? I'm already telling you, you believe the more content you consume, the better you'll be educated, and then you'll have a better desired result. And I'm going to tell you the opposite's going to happen. You are going to try to consume so much information, try to answer every question, because here's the truth of it. Not only are you scared, not only mentally uncomfortably, you have no idea what the outcome's going to be, and that horrifies you. And I get it. It sucks. We all want to know what's going to happen, but in reality, even at the end of our life, we don't truly know what's going to happen. So if you're already in this ride called life and you've chosen something, like this is your conscious choice, just go for it, man. Swing the bat. You can always watch the content, but like stop trying to put the content first and do everything after. Let's face it, you went through probably 16, 17 years of formal education, some of you a lot more, and all you did was consume information and take very little action. And you already know the outcome. Most of you got wound up in sales jobs or jobs like you thought you were going to be bigger and better for it. And the reality is now you figured out you actually have to go out and you have to be responsible and earn your own living and not rely on anyone else, particularly the government. And that's probably why you're watching this video. But I will tell you, if you think you can consume my content, 16 other influencers, and a million other people, the more you consume, the more it's going to be like an addiction to you. And you're always going to have one missing piece, because you know what? I've never woken up a day without seeing a new wholesaling video out there. It's nonstop. Like, how many motivational videos can you watch before you go, crap, I better go do something. I better go to the gym. I better take action. I better get up earlier. I better do this. I mean, there's probably 1,000 motivational videos put out a day. You just, at some point you go, come on, this is like way too much. So if we know this is a trap, then you get into this predicament. You're too scared to make the wrong choice. And honestly, that's where most of you are right now. I'm hunting that perfect choice. I haven't put it together yet. I'm not ready to take action, but I'm scared of making the wrong choice. So guess what? The next outcome is, if you're stuck in this, I'm scared I'm going to make the wrong choice. Put in the comments, what are you going to do next? If you're utterly horrified of making a bad decision, I want you to understand this. Think of your entire life. Who here on this live stream has made every decision perfectly right? I already know the answer to it. It's none of you. Probably a select few, which means you haven't lived much of a life. And the reality of life is you have to put yourself out there, and you are going to feel vulnerable, you're going to feel scared, and you're going to feel wildly uncomfortable. And the reality is, when you guys put yourselves out there, you start not questioning yourself. You don't like the feelings, the emotions you're getting. And so what do we do when we're horrified and we're scared of something? Your body wants to go back to the known. Just give me the known. Don't even mess with me. I need the known. The known means you go back to what's safe. You mow your lawn, you clean your house, you do the stuff, you watch your Netflix because it brings you comfort. You already know the outcome of the movie. Why do you think most people watch movies? We all want to know what the outcome is, but we don't want you to tell us what it is. It's ridiculous. So if we understand this, Jonathan nails it perfectly right here. You either do nothing or you give up. Do nothing or give up. Does everybody understand that? So if we know that, if you're too scared, like I say here, so you know what you guys do as a default? So you make no choice. And guess what? You either take the action or you wait for the perfect scenario and you feel like you're never going to quite have it, so you get stuck in this endless loop. And so now you're stuck here as like, I'm not going to make a choice at all because that way I can't make a mistake. Good Lord. God knows I've lived in this bubble. This is the bubble where most people live in. I don't want to make a decision at all. That way I'm protected. Well, I tell you what, no choice is a choice. Let me repeat that. No choice is a choice. It is a definitive decision you've made to do nothing. And then you guys come up with cute little labels on it like it's analysis by paralysis. I don't even know who the hell came up with it. I don't even know why we use it. Let's just be honest. I'm scared to make a mistake. So if I don't make a decision at all, I'm safe. That means you're sitting on the sideline and you're letting your life just go pass you by. And if you want to watch TV, you want to watch Netflix, and you want everyone else to write the scripts and you want predictable endings, sit on the sideline, but you're not going to be rewarded for it. It's okay to do it occasionally, but if that's your life, it means everybody else runs your life. You're too scared to make a decision, and if you think you don't make a decision, that keeps you safe. In my opinion, by not making a choice and sitting on the sideline and constantly consuming information, I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it, you're making yourself a coward. Who cares if you fail? For God's sakes, you failed up to this point. I know I did before I was introduced to wholesaling. So what do you have to lose? Why don't you start thinking like, what if I start to things get going in the right direction? Like how phenomenal would that be? It'd be awesome. But if you're not going to make a choice and you think that's safe, you've already made a terrible choice. It means I'm not going to take action. I'm just going to sit on the sideline and I'm going to wait until the coach calls me in until Rick or Zach calls me in on the perfect wholesale plate. And what's happened is there's going to be a duplex and it's going to pull up to my driveway and the owner's going to come out and say, please take this deed from me. I can't take it anymore. That's when I'll start wholesaling. Guys, it's never going to happen that way. Not even close. In fact, most of you guys have this fantasy story how wholesaling is going to start out. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be painful. You've got to go out there and get as much opportunity as humanly possible. But you can't do it by consuming information all day long and just constantly, I need this, I need that's perfect. Do you know the first 10 probate deals I did, I had no idea what I was doing. I was horrified. I was beyond scared. And honestly, I thought I was a fraud when I first did it. But I knew how to market and connect to people in probate and find the PR, the personal representative. That part, I had that licked. But I felt like a fraud because I did not understand probate. I barely even knew what the definition of it was. And if I didn't move forward and keep doing probates, I could not teach you all the skills that I've learned doing probates. Remember, all I was taught was to locate people with probates and identify a problem and see if I could solve it, which I was good at. The probate process, it was legal, it was confusing, and honestly, I didn't even understand it. How did I do it? I would get and meet with the seller. They'd ask me a bunch of questions. I'd go back to my title company. Sometimes I'd involve an attorney, and I kept facilitating answers. And if I didn't know the answer, guess what? I went back and found someone who knew the answer. You don't have to lie to people when you don't know. You just got to listen. I got somebody on my team. I know this person has the information. What's the best time to call you back? Don't lie. See, if I waited for everything to be perfect in probates, I'd still be waiting because I have to learn something new. There's over 3,200 counties. Every county is different. And for that reason, you're never going to master wholesaling. I've been doing this 22 years. There is not a day that doesn't go by. I learned some new technique, some new word, some new strategy in all of real estate. And that's what I love about it. It will keep you on your toes for the rest of your life. My job is to get you to master wholesaling and to take action. And the purpose of this video, if you're consuming too much content, how to kick you in the butt and show you why you're consuming too much content and show you how to actually go out and take actionable steps to get your first contract or get you back on the road to recovery to be a great seller. So no choice is a choice, and you've got to understand that. So here's the other thing you guys do. You try to pick and choose things you want to do in wholesaling, and it's like baking a cake. Say you're a super healthy person and you go, listen, I don't want cake. I don't want sugar in my cake. Can you do it? Yes. But outside of you, that cake's going to taste horrible. This is how my mother-in-law makes cakes. Everything's like either gluten-free or like sugar-free. And honestly, it tastes like I'm chewing on cardboard. So the whole point of like a birthday celebration is to enjoy a slice of cake and reward for all the celebrations and rotating the sun one more year. So I can substitute the sugar, but the outcome's probably not, the result is not going to be desired, especially everybody else you made the cake for. And this is what happens in wholesaling. Somebody goes, I don't like probates. Like the fear of chasing down when somebody died makes me uncomfortable. I go, listen, I'm not asking you to do anything fake. Just see if they have a house they need to sell and see if you can solve a problem for them. That's all we do in wholesaling. I never force anyone to sell me a house. I have to go out and seek it. But if you're going to, you can pick and choose different marketing strategies. You can pick different lists. But if you so tailor it to what's easiest for you, you're going to skip the key essentials of doing wholesaling. And this is how you guys wind up in some of these crazy products I see you guys buying, like, oh, this one we just pair up with the homeowner and it's much easier than wholesaling it. I go, how is it any different? Like, explain it to me. And they go, oh, no. They agree on a price and then we help get it fixed up and then we switch out the contract. Oh, so you have a fake, like, explain, oh, no, we're going to do this and we have to record a power of attorney. We have to record a lien. I go, wouldn't it just be easier to wholesale? Well, I'm trying to avoid wholesaling because I heard it was really hard. I don't know, man. And maybe you just kind of lean into it and do it. And like most of you that watch my content understand, I am not going to sidestep wholesaling. You have to learn it. You have to do it. And if you do this, the gifts that will come to you will be amazing. Find anyone who tried to sidestep wholesaling and they have a much, much longer journey because they have to go get traditional capital. They have to take tremendous amount of risk. In the beginning, we're minimizing your risk, maximizing your reward. Is it a job? Hell yes. But it's, to me, the highest paying job you can get out there. So stop trying to pick parts of the recipe that you think work in the beginning. Just do exactly what you're told to be doing because you don't have the skill sets. You don't understand wholesaling all the way. And why not follow other people that have already forged the path? You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. If I had to reinvent the wheel, I'd be in trouble. That's why I chose wholesaling. I just took the actionable steps people did before me. Remember, somebody taught me wholesaling. I love people who says, no, I invented wholesaling, or they didn't. These techniques have been around for hundreds of years. How we market them and title them, that's the whole marketing side of it. So next question too, are you actually wholesaling? If you're just consuming information, all this stuff, and you go, hey, wholesaling's not working, I go, are you specifically learning wholesaling? Or are you talking about fixing and flipping? Are you talking about being a landlord in properties? Are you talking about doing creative financing? By the way, those are all techniques you can use in real estate, and I love them all. I love anybody who promotes it, teaches it. But the reality is maybe you should master one before you jump in the other one. And if you're using one to bypass another one because you think it's easier, listen to what you just said to yourself. The person that avoids the hard work is the person that will rarely ever make it. Most of the time when I see people avoid wholesaling, they always come back to wholesaling. Why? Because wholesaling creates cash. It gives you opportunities. Is there pressure on wholesaling? Absolutely. But welcome to the real world. Honestly, for the last 30, 40 years, people have been wholesaling with no issues at all, no restrictions, no nothing. Now it's much more mainstream. And the same people that taught you this are the ones telling you really shouldn't do it going forward. There's got to be better ways to do it. Well, how do you want people to get started? So the point of this conversation is make sure you are consuming wholesaling material. Because if you're trying to learn how to do subject tos and lease options and installment and executive contracts, you only got so much bandwidth to do this. So like if you're overloading your brain with stuff like all these different topics, one singular niche, wholesaling, it will produce cash. You get in touch with sellers directly off market that need to sell. it's a game changer. If you go to MLS and do all these strategies and do like these paid per leads and stuff like that, pay per click, with no experience, you're going to get killed in this business. I don't know why it's like me and Zach are the only ones that talk about like the people who start in wholesaling, because you guys are the ones that need the most help. Could I sit here and talk about above your head all day? I can. But I also teach you have to kill your ego to be a great wholesaler. Do I think I'm the greatest wholesaler? No, I don't. That's ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous claim. Number one, I would never give it any energy. And number two, if I thought that way, you should be a little bit concerned, because that means my ego is the number one concern. I am the best of the best. Now, I'm extremely good at what I do. Is there people better than me? I'm sure there is. Heck, I've met them. But this is where we're at. I'm the best at teaching you how to get started in wholesaling and how to connect with motivated sellers. Everything else, honestly, is just a huge distraction and just going to waste your time. This is how most courses get sold to you. The more confused you get, the more you keep buying, and the worse the cycle gets. So if you understand that, ask yourself, am I actually wholesaling? What am I confused about? Because a lot of you aren't confused about wholesaling. It's all these other techniques you try to be. Do I need to get a license? Do I need to do this? Remember, if you take care of the seller and you solve their problem, you're going to sleep really good at night. Now, if you don't sleep good at night, it's probably because you're so confused about all these different strategies you're trying to learn. So master one. If wholesaling is the basic, single, highest skill set and the most fundamental thing you can learn in wholesaling, do it. Get it off your list and go back and look at all the successful people in real estate and find the ones that had a core foundation of wholesaling. That's going to answer your question. End of story. So, and remember, failure. There's the stepping stones to actually learning this business. If you don't fail and fall flat on your face, you are not learning wholesaling. There is no other way to do it. I cannot stress this to you enough. We have to fail to make progress. So I'm going to give you a simple formula. I know this is simple, but it's the truth, because I was going to make today super easy today because it's the last day of the year. Info plus no action equals paralysis by analysis. Suck that one in for a sec. It's true, because you ever have people like read stuff, they read stuff on the internet, and like you all are going to go to a bunch of parties tonight, and everybody's an expert on nothing. And the minute you press and deep dive somebody on something, you find out they don't own anything, any of the assets they're talking about. Very little money in their bank account, but they're going to tell you exactly how you need to do it. Don't take information from people that have not walked the talk. But I'm telling you, if you just take info and that's all you do, you keep putting info in your head, soon your head explodes. You spit it out to people that really don't give a crap what you think, and you have no definitive proof for the information you're taking that it actually works. You just have theory. And I can spot people from a mile away that have theories. I want to hear exactly how it worked in your business and what was the result. And most importantly, what did you learn to move forward? We're all going to make mistakes. We were designed to make mistakes. And if you think you're going to avoid it by not making a decision, it's just going to get worse. So if we understand that, we understand that. Now, let's switch it up. Take info, take action, and you're going to get results. What I'm going to tell you to do is take info plus action and multiply it by your effort if you really want to push this thing through it. So some people will take 10 years to learn wholesaling, and then I can get someone that can master it in 6 months. Why is that? One person went deep, one went wide. Guess which one got there faster? You're right, the deep person. Now maybe it's an ADHD person, but like when I got my first wholesaling course, and they were nothing but like terrible notes and like photocopies, it was my Bible. Everywhere I went, I did it. I would take an action. I would come back. I go, man, that didn't work out nearly like he or she said it would. And that's how you start asking questions and formulating your own plan. But I just door knocked on pre-foreclosures. I had no idea how bad I was going to get rejected. I had no idea what to say. But after a while, after about the 15th, 20th door, I figured it out because I wasn't going to stop. And so if you don't take action with info, what's the point? What are you going to be, like a walking encyclopedia? When you walk around your parties tonight, if someone wants to talk about a topic, press deep. Go all the way in. And I promise you, most people's stuff will completely fall apart. It's one of my favorite things to do. Now, I love when someone presses and they know everything. Like once I know, like I just pull back. But I love messing with people that have no idea what they're doing. When it comes to like fitness, health, and financial, they're the easiest ones to pick apart on people. But I want everyone to win and be successful. So look, guys, when it comes to wholesaling, just stop consuming everything. And I want you to go back to this video and replay a lot of the stuff. So I've taught you a lot of information that should just catapult you in what you do. But you got to understand,